And hello again, everybody, and welcome to the Gwinnett Chamber's monthly podcast here on Business RadioX. This is the voice of business. My name is Mike Salmon, and I am joined for this special episode by Jill Edwards. Jill Edwards is a longtime member of the Gwinnett Chamber. She's a well-known banking executive here in the market as well. She's a good friend of mine and of Business RadioX as well. Big nod there, Jill.
Big nod.
And the reason you're here is because you have just recently become the chair for the Gwinnett Chamber Board of Directors.
How about that?
I know. It could not have been a better choice. And we talked about the title, though. Are you a chairperson? Are you a chairman? Are you a chairwoman? What are you exactly?
I prefer Madam Chair. I just think that sounds so
Madam
cool.
Chair.
Oh, yeah.
Do we kiss the ring, too?
Maybe, whatever you're feeling.
So you are the Madam Chair for the Gwinnett Chamber of Commerce. For those that are not familiar with the Board of Directors, and how does that play out? How does that work? What does that mean? What does that title come with?
Yep. The Chamber has a large Board of Directors, and then we have an executive board because there's so many. It kind of gets overwhelming. So community leaders from all different, walks of businesses are chairs, so are on the board. So the chair, I have been on the board for many years, and it just was a lead-in. I'm at everything. It is how I've run my banking as well. Who I know and who I connect with through the chamber has led to just an amazing career out here in Gwinnett County. I'm technically not just Gwinnett. I'm not limited to Gwinnett, but I don't see any reason to go much further. I follow customers outside of the market, but I rarely go prospect outside of the market because this is just such fertile stomping ground. And I've been out here for so long too. So it's a place I love. Some people have asked me about, oh, Jill, gosh, thanks for stepping up. I know that's a whole lot of work. Like, it's this big, extra hard thing to do. And while there's a lot of work involved, it's just such a joy and a privilege to do it. I love doing it, and I don't do anything that I don't love. And I think that's why it goes together so well. So, yes, I'm really enjoying working with a large board, working with the executive board, which I wish I could remember how many people are on the executive, but it's something like 20 or fewer. And so that's where a lot of the decisions are made. And then there's sort of a core. In fact, when Nick started talking to me about being chair for this year.
And this is Nick Messino, the president and CEO of the chamber.
That's right, Nick. And so what he explained to me is it's not just a one-year thing. It's really a 3-year thing. You are the year before. I sat on every committee last year. Then I'm chair this year, and then I'll be post, and any major decisions I'll be involved in next year as well. So it's really a 3-year commitment. So when you're the chair, it is a 3-year commitment. So this past year, when you were prepping, I guess, to become That's right.
Madam Chair, you already knew all along that you were going to be the chair? So, I mean, it's kind of assigned a year ahead of time.
I guess kind of, although they technically have to vote me in. I guess if I screwed up, they would have not voted me in. But unless you do something wrong or, you move, like Doug Jenkins moved out of market. So we've asked Tammy Shoemate, the chair from 2 years ago, to step in and be post-chair for this year because Doug Jenkins got promoted with his company and so is not able to serve in his post year.
Now, you have served on the board of directors, as have I, but you've served a little bit longer. And it's important for you to be a part of the chamber because we champion business at the Gwinnett Chamber of Commerce. That's the big new saying and so forth. But you decided to take that next leap. I guess the next evolution for you was to become the Madam Chair. To use your term as you like us. And I will refer to you as Madam Chair. Why did you decide to do that? Why did you not say, well, I'm on the board. I'm giving my time to the board. That's enough. Why did you decide to take the extra step?
Well, it is a complete honor. I am only the 5th woman that has been the chair in the past. I think it's an 80-year-old organization, or it's close to.
Were they all Madam Chairs as well?
I don't know. I should go back and poll them and see what they preferred. And I really don't care. That's kind of a joke. But I'm just proud to be in this position. I'm really enjoying. I think I'm a good choice because of how much I love the chamber and how involved I am in it, that I understand it. I go to the business after hours. I do chairman's club. About the only thing I haven't done is the Gwinnett working, and I did that years and years and years ago, and that doesn't fit into what I do right now. But the chamber is just such a vibrant organization with so many things going on. And, I talk about Gwinnett Chamber like every other chamber in the world is like it. We're really a unicorn. We are so very different from all the other chambers. There are some other great chambers. I'm not saying the other chambers in and around Atlanta or across the country aren't great chambers, but we are really unique in how much we do for our members and include our members in events. And we have such a cool market in Gwinnett too, so there's so much to do. We're not at a lack for, doing the same thing over and over again because we have so many choices here.
You mentioned being the fifth woman to be the chair, but Gwinnett County for years has been so diverse, and you see that diversity just on our board. So it shouldn't be a shock that that we have a woman leading or a minority leading or whatever, because that's the face of Gwinnett County.
I hope nobody's shocked. It is one of the things, though. I think we have some more work to do there. It's one of my things to help move along, although we are not just starting with our diversity efforts here. We have been in motion with that for quite some time, and not just race, not just female or male. I also want to include age, because we have so many young presidents and CEOs and great companies here in the market. We have such impressive younger people. It's all relative, I know. They're 30s and 40s, which used to sound old to me, but now it sounds very, very young. And we really do have such impressive leaders. Yeah. And if we don't take care of them, they're our future, and we don't want them to kind of not know what they're doing, because it takes a few years to get the hang, meet the people, get to know people. You don't get to know people overnight. You get to know them over a long period of time.
Well, I think because we developed the leaders in Gwinnett County with YP, young professionals, and programs like that we're seeing all the fruits of that labor. But let me back up a little bit, Jill. You're with United Community Bank, and we were joking about your title earlier. You're Senior VP and Commercial Division Manager.
That's right.
We weren't sure exactly. You were saying, I think I'm Commercial Division Manager, banking and lending.
Banking, yeah,
But you said, I loved your answer, though. You said, I know what I do every day, and I love what I do. But talk about your banking success, and why have you been so successful in the banking industry? I have my thoughts, and I'll share with you in a second, but I want to know why you think you've been so successful in the banking industry.
Well, I started out in the banking industry on a training program, which that's the first thing. They don't really have the big training programs. I really got established and knew what I was doing before I got kicked out to the wolves, and we don't do that anymore. So it's really hard to find a good training ground so that you don't get just murdered when you sit in front of your first customer and you don't know what you're talking about. So I had that luxury, but then I also had Gwinnett. We were one of the fastest growing counties in the country in the 90s, and that's when I it was so much fun. And I was young, so I didn't know what I was doing, but I knew enough to get it done. I remember I was the first one in my group to do a bond issue, a loan that's a bond. And so I became the bond girl. And so that was kind of funny. That was in the 90s. And then because those are big deals. They're large dollar deals. So for someone young in a banking career, that really started me out well. I was getting big deals done, and people knew I could get the big deals done. And then I had a lot of customers that were involved in the chamber and would bring me to the lunches. And I would nominate them for Small Business of the Year or medium or large, whatever size they were. And so I have always been very involved in the chamber, going back to when I didn't sit on the board because I was not the C-suite person in the market then. But now, the past 10 years almost, can't remember how long it's been exactly, but been very, very involved, and it's been such a fun ride. And the people that I sit on the board with, I mean, half of them are my best friends, so it's a fun place to be.
I think we could not have found a better spokesperson to be the Madam Chair for the Board of Directors and for the Chamber, because it seems like no matter what question I ask you, it's always going to come back to the Chamber somehow. It's almost like it's in your blood.
It does feel that way. And it works so well. It just dovetails into what I do on a day-to-day basis, because in banking, we look at the numbers. But what's the most important, and I was taught this by credit people years ago, is the real integrity of management. And when you know somebody, when you know the owners of the company really well, and you know how they operate, you can do stuff. And if you're not a great person, I won't call on you, but we don't seem to have that problem out here. We seem to have tons of great people that want to do business with other businesses in Gwinnett County. So it makes it just really, it's fun to come to work.
As we look at you now in your new role, as a leadership role, you have to deal with a lot of people and a lot of personalities. And this is my reason why I believe you've been so successful, not just in banking, but whatever career choice you had chosen, is because you treat everybody like they're like a friend. When they get to know you, you feel like you've known each other for years. And I've always felt that way with you from the first time I met you. You talk to anybody, and you just have that personality where it seems like you get along with everybody and anybody.
I genuinely love people. Like you've got to be a real jerk for me to not like you. That I will find some good or something fun or something great about most everybody, and hopefully they'll see the same in me. So yes, I love people. It is never been hard for me to. Cold calling was my favorite thing to do. I don't have time for it anymore, but I love, because I figure there's a new friend out there, somebody I haven't met. Let's go knock on some doors.
Strangers are just a friend you haven't met yet. And that should serve you well, though, because now when you're working with these committees and everything, not everybody's going to see eye to eye.
Right.
And they need to look up to somebody that can maybe say, listen, just take the emotion out of it. Let's get back to work here.
Well, when I was younger, I was a little more hot-headed in my 20s, and I had a great boss that was like, whatever you do, especially if you're mad, don't do anything. You can write that email, but don't send it. Sleep on it first, then come back the next morning, read the email, see if you still want to send it then, and that one piece of advice that I grabbed onto. If somebody makes me really mad, I don't do anything right then. I figure it out later, and normally by the time we get back to it, enough has changed, because if somebody's going to make me really mad about something, they're probably making a bunch of other people really mad about it too. So it's going to get figured out, and the less energy you give toward all that negative energy, it just seems to work out better.
Our guest today on the Voice of Business podcast, which is presented by the Gwinnett Chamber of Commerce, is Jill Edwards. She is I say new chair, Madam Chair of the Gwinnett Board of Directors, the Gwinnett Chamber Board of Directors. But you've been doing this since January officially.
That's right.
It's a calendar year thing, January 1st to December 31st. So let me ask you this, Madam Chair, as the new chairperson or Madam Chair. I'm saying it too much now. It's in my mind.
You
I can't
like
get
it, don't you?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
If it fits you, Jill. What are your plans? What are some changes? Obviously, when you take this position, you're thinking, okay, what can I bring to the table? What do I want to see this chamber do, or what direction do I want to see it go in? Talk about some of the plans you have for the chamber.
Well, one of the big ones that was on my plate, but we already touched on it, and we've already started to address it, is the DEI initiative. So that's already underway. I told you about the age thing. Not so much females. We seem to kind of already have a whole lot of females involved, a whole lot of females working on the proper diversity to reflect our market. And it's not just the citizens of Gwinnett, it's really the businesses of Gwinnett, because we're the business chamber, so we want to reflect the business community. So that's what we're really trying to mirror. And I think we're doing a good job there. So that one's in works, but it's a focus and a target of mine. And then the second thing is kind of a fun thing that the chamber has going on this year, which is we're redoing the chamber, the building. So that one, I'm like, ooh, I get to be chair while that's going on. It's just a fun effort. We're the largest, Nick likes to say, we're the largest chamber building in the country. We're 60,000 square feet. So it's three stories of 20,000, and we're redoing the first and second floors of it. So we've picked the team that's going to do it, and now we're just to the phase that we're going to start seeing some plans and start making some decisions. So that's kind of fun because that'll be at least the next 20 years for the chamber, the building, maybe longer. But that's a way to leave my mark, and who knows? We're going to definitely make the outdoors. We're going to incorporate it into what we do because weather's so great in Atlanta.
Yeah.
We're very lucky. Like today, it's 65 and sunny in February.
So 15 years from now, when you're going back and you see the beautiful new building revamped and everything, you can say that happened in my watch.
That's right. So that's kind of fun. There'll be something tangible. Other than that, there's not a whole lot that's not already going on. The train left the station a long time ago.
You just want to keep it on the tracks.
I want to keep it on the tracks, keep doing the great stuff we're already doing. We just did our first day at the Capitol again. It had been several years since we did that. So that was something that with Paul O. in his position, I wanted to make sure that we started doing that. So I don't think I would say that I had the idea, but I definitely climbed on board that and want to continue to do that because what I found out when we were down there for the day, everybody knows Gwinnett. We do so much stuff, and we are so important to the state. I knew that, but I didn't know it until I heard all the people tell me that.
Yeah, now you're going to be seeing it from a different seat, from a different vantage point.
That's right.
And you'll be getting a lot of the accolades too because you're the head of the board of directors now. It's funny because when I was young and a student at the University of Georgia, my senior year, I became the general manager for the campus radio station, and it was much like the chamber. It was already doing very well. It was in a great direction, and my goal was just let's just not get knocked off the air. If I keep it going in this direction, that was my only goal as a general manager. Don't get kicked off the air.
Don't let me be the one that messes it up.
Right.
Yeah,
Nothing.
right.
Don't let anything bad happen on my watch.
Exactly.
So so physically, the building's going to look good. Nick Messino. You've mentioned Nick 10 times already. We all know Nick. For those not familiar with the chamber, though, to have a visionary president and CEO that sees not just the present and the now, but the future as well. Talk about what it's like to in your relationship with Nick.
Right. So he pretty much started Partnership Gwinnett and ran it for, I want to say, like 15 years, something like that. So that's the economic development arm of Gwinnett County, public-private partnership. So think about what he did and all the relationships he had stepping into this role. So I was on the committee that chose Nick as our next president of the chamber. But one of the things, we were all concerned that we were picking someone from the inside, and was that going to go well with chamber staff? Well, I think I thought so at the time, and I think so now, that the chamber staff love Nick, and Nick loves his chamber staff. I mean, he is a great boss. One of the things I think he does the best is he takes young talent and develops it very quickly. Like the people at the chamber, I'm amazed at how old they are, and maybe it's just me getting so much older, and what they're doing, what they're accomplishing, how professionally they're doing it. So the chamber is cooking on all, and it's a lot of it has to do with Nick.
Yeah.
He is a visionary. If he was sitting here, he would be saying, "Oh no, I'm not," but he is. He really is, and that is a big piece of why we're going forward and why we're going forward so fast right now.
Yeah. So, and I echo the sentiments about not just Nick, but the board of directors, the executive council. I mean, everybody involved. It's just right now, you'd have to mess it up pretty good, Jill, for this thing to come off the tracks, right?
I mean, I would, which is also why it's no big deal to do it, because it's such a highly functioning organization, such a highly functioning board, that I'd have to do something really wrong to screw it up.
Well, in all seriousness, though, we could not have a better person to be Madam Chair for the Board of Directors, and I'm excited to have you as a friend also be, I'm happy for you. When I saw that you were going to be the new person in charge, it's like, that's awesome. That's great. Good for Jill. You've been very respected, and not just in the banking industry, though, but in the entire business community here in Gwinnett County. And believe me, in the 8 years now that I've been in here with Business RadioX, and we have talked, we talk to businesses every single day. So we have a good feel for the pulse of business. So kudos to the Chamber, and we're excited to have you on board. Any other things that you're thinking of? Let me back up and just say this. For anyone that's thinking about joining the Chamber, not part of the Chamber, and you're in business doing something, talk about why they should get involved with the Chamber. They don't have to be on the board. They don't have to be an executive committee, but at least have a membership. Talk about why it's important for your business to be a part of this organization.
Well, there's a couple of different levels to get involved at. Number one is, do you just want the plaque hanging on the wall? And that's fine for some businesses. They don't want to get involved, or they're not ready to get involved, or they don't want to get involved too much. They just don't have the extra time. But they recognize what the Gwinnett Chamber is doing for the community, so they want to, participate at that level. But then if you really want to start getting some bang for your buck, you become a member and you start plugging yourself in. We have these monthly, there's 10 a year, almost monthly, on topics with excellent speakers. It's basically our monthly membership lunch. And it's very well attended. We've been, I think the Chamber was only closed for less than 30 days, something like that, when COVID hit. So we've been back. We've been back at it for a long time. And the close to, I know there's at least 100 people there, and I think our numbers start to come to 200, and then sometimes we have to move next door to Gas South District because we have so many people attending. So, and then we have lots of other, like we got State of the County coming up this Thursday, so that's going to be a great event. That's out at 12 Stone. There's so much to do that I warn people, it's almost impossible not to get business out of this. This was a sign company that I've been talking to about joining, and he made a comment about, he goes, I'm kind of full on business, but I could just sure use some other CEOs to talk to about how to run my business. So he's not necessarily looking for more business. He seems to have enough, at least right now, but he's looking for other people in his shoes that he can be talking to about what's going on in the market. So everybody has a different need. And then, of course, you have Chairman's Club, which is the $5,500 a year, and that's the C-suite. You got to be C-suite in Gwinnett County for your business to play a role in that, and that's certainly a lot of fun, and we do some really, really nice things. But at the end of the day, it's almost impossible not to get something out of the Chamber if you plug in. So if you don't plug in, Chamber's not osmosis. You don't get it from just putting your name on the list, although you can feel good about it if you like what we're doing and want to support with your money. But if you jump in and start showing up, it's almost impossible for your business not to benefit.
Well said. Why don't we end on that?
That's a great place to end.
Jill, if you just had some passion for what you're doing, this would have been so much better. But
I know.
Yeah. Congratulations, Jill. Thank you for joining us today on the Voice of Business podcast, and I'll be seeing you around at all the Chamber events.
Thank you, Mike. I really appreciate it.
Jill Edwards, the Madam Chair for the Gwinnett Chamber's Board of Directors, joining us here on this very special edition of the Voice of Business podcast. And, of course, this podcast, you can catch it anytime you want. It's on the Business RadioX website, of course. Just go to the Gwinnett studio and click on the Voice of Business. But it's also available on your favorite podcast app, whether it be iTunes, iHeartRadio, Google Podcast, Spotify. Just type in the Gwinnett Chamber or type in the Voice of Business, and you'll find these shows. So for Jill and for my producer Connor, I'm Mike, and we'll see you next time right here on the Voice of Business on Business RadioX.